Good morning, everybody from Chicago. Brock Lesnar in the news once again, and it is spurred by Jon Jones and a Facebook Live chat that he had with his fans. Regardless of UFC 214 this Saturday, Anaheim, California, DC, Bones Jones, we're talking about Brock Lesnar. So Jon Jones answered a question. Here it was, transcribed by ESPN. He, as in Brock, is a massive dude. It will be a massive draw, really big for the sport if they fought. It would be a great challenge. That's a big old boy. I doubt Brock Lesnar would take that fight, though. Oh, shots fired. I definitely wouldn't try to wrestle with him the whole time. I'm not going to tell you what I would do. You kind of just did. So he not only used his savviness to fire a warning shot at Brock Lesnar, but it was also a warning shot at the UFC to say that this is a realistic possibility. And once again, in the words of Ray Shremmen, as I've said many times, follow the bag. Now, here's Brock's quote in response to this Q&A that took place with Jon Jones when he answered that question of, would you fight Brock Lesnar? So Brock said, would I fight Jon Jones? Anytime, anywhere. Right now, he should be worried about DC on Saturday night. That's true. He should be. And we're going to get into that preview a little bit later here on the channel. But still, UFC 214, Anaheim, California, DC, Jones, Bones Jones, it should be awesome. And it is it is the best card that the UFC has to offer right now. Now, the size discrepancy, going back to this, would be Jon Jones fights at about 205 pounds. We know that Brock Lesnar, a heavyweight, so he would have to put on, Jones, a ton of weight. But he has been having this inkling through the media that he wants to make a move to heavyweight. But here is what he said on the Joe Rogan podcast on December of 2016. Have a listen.
But have you thought about doing heavyweight?
I do want to challenge for the heavyweight title, but I'm waiting for the perfect opponent.
So again, he laid the groundwork to say that he is waiting for the correct opponent and he'll move, which means he's waiting for an opponent that is inferior to his skills and that he can beat. And he sees the writing on the wall potentially for Brock Lesnar at 40 and saying that he can move to heavyweight and not only that, win a belt there, solidify his legacy one more time in the UFC as one of the best pound for pound, and also defeat an opponent like Brock Lesnar who has had his troubles in the past. However, this has been a talking point of Jon Jones going to heavyweight many times. Here's what he said, June of 2016, as highlighted by MMAfighting.com. Jon Jones no longer looking at heavyweight, wants to rack up as much money and as many wins as I can. Now, the other interesting note about this is that he said that a while ago, over a year ago, about 13 months, and he has already racked up so many wins that I do believe that if he beats Daniel Cormier on Saturday, he'd be like, got nothing to prove, clean out the division. I want to test my skills in another area and in another weight class. Even though he said that on the Joe Rogan Experience, another clip for another day, that they should have a 220-pound weight division. So Brock Lesnar and his star power via Yahoo, and why exactly this fight would work. He'll set the fight because it's what he does. He's fought 8 times in the UFC, and according to MMApayout.com estimates, those matches have sold a combined 7.34 million pay-per-views. Holy shit! That is an average of 917,375 per fight. That's via Kevin Iole discussing how much of an impact Brock Lesnar would have. Brock Lesnar, a friend of Daniel Cormier, tested positive for steroids in the build-up and after the fight against Mark Hunt, and that is the reason Mark Hunt has filed a civil suit against the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Even he said prior to the fight, because the UFC and USADA waived all testing for Brock Lesnar and said, just get here and just fight. That is the simplified version of what occurred, where Mark Hunt said that he will be Brock juiced to the gills, and he certainly was. Brock won, but it was ruled a no contest. Thus, we have a civil suit right now. And Brock made $2.5 million. He gave $250,000 back to accompany the fines and pay the fines that followed him. But here's how I personally feel about this, and I want to hear all of your thoughts in the comments section, is that with Brock Lesnar, it does not matter if he tested positive once, if he tested positive twice. The UFC, in the words of, you guessed it, Ray Shremmen, are following the bag. They are following the bag of cash, the stacks of cash that Brock Lesnar would bring in, and so is Johnny Bones Jones. Because regardless of what's happened and the inherited risks that the UFC has taken with Brock Lesnar and that John Jones could potentially take with Brock Lesnar, it is always about the money. How can the money suffice what the impact will be and how many people will be tuning into your respective card and your respective sport? Because he has so much money and such a loyal following, regardless of the outside factors of him, is this how it works? Of taking steroids, nonetheless, he is a sell. He is a pay-per-view draw. John Jones understands that. Many other fighters understand that. And you know who else understands that? Dana freaking White. And that is why I will bet right now he is in the works of trying to make this happen if John Jones defeats Daniel Cormier, which I personally believe that he will. In terms of a legacy, in boxing, Floyd Mayweather won belts in 5 different weight classes. BJ Penn is up there as well. Conor McGregor is up there as well. I think I'm missing one. Randy Couture is up there as well. Light heavyweight and heavyweight. John Jones would solidify his status once again, controversial or not. He's still a draw. People still love him, but he would solidify his status and his legacy as one of the best ever if he goes to heavyweight and if he defeats Brock Lesnar, which I do believe can absolutely happen if he beats Daniel Cormier. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Get at me on Twitter, @Rick Strom. Let's keep the conversation motherfucking going. And subscribe to TYT Sports.